Hey everyone, and welcome back to the Deep Dive. This week, we're looking at something quite interesting.
Yeah, this one's a bit different.
Yeah, it's a blog post by Meska called Wieso Weihnachten not a thing ist,
Oh, yeah.
which translates to Why Christmas is Not a Thing.
Okay.
And talk about a bold statement,
Especially on Christmas.
especially considering he posted this on Christmas Day back in 2018.
Wow. Yeah, that's picking a day to post that.
Yeah, so let's dive in and see what Meska's got to say here.
Oh, okay.
He starts by explaining that Christmas has kind of lost its sparkle for him, and he blames it partly on coming from a broken family and not having started his own family yet.
Yeah, I can see that. It makes me think about how much pressure there is around the holidays to fit this, picture-perfect image of family bliss.
Right.
Not everyone experiences the holidays that way, and for some, those expectations can be really tough to deal with.
Yeah, like you're not allowed to have a less than perfect Christmas.
Exactly.
But Meska doesn't stop there. He goes on to reject what he calls the hypocritical peace-joy pancake mood, often associated with Christmas.
Okay, the peace, joy, pancake mood. I like that. What do you think he's getting at there?
I don't know. What do you think he's getting at?
Well, remember, this blog post is coming from Germany,
Right.
where Christmas traditions might be a little different.
Yeah.
Still, I think Meska's pointing to how Christmas can sometimes feel forced
Okay.
and superficial. You know all about the presents and appearances and less about the real meaning of the holiday.
So almost like the commercialization of Christmas is overshadowing the genuine spirit of it.
Exactly. And that seems to be what Meska is pushing back against. He seems to be longing for something more authentic and consistent, appreciating what matters all year round, not just during the holidays.
Kind of like choosing to be kind and generous every day instead of just when the calendar tells you to.
Exactly.
Yeah, I like that.
It's about incorporating those values into your everyday life, not just reserving them for special occasions. You could call it a more mindful approach, I guess.
Right.
And this idea of self-discovery and being true to yourself is a big part of Metzger's message throughout the post.
Yeah. He seems to be on a journey of figuring things out. And speaking of figuring things out, he talks about becoming more assertive. He even tells this funny story about a woman at a store who was slow as a snail
Oh, yeah.
to show how he's changed.
Yeah, that anecdote really stuck with me, too. I
Yeah.
think it shows how Meska is getting better at expressing himself, even if it means being a little sarcastic sometimes. He's finding his voice and isn't afraid to use it.
Yeah. It's like he's finally comfortable in his own skin and not worried about pleasing everyone else. He even uses this German phrase. Hold on. Let me see if I can pronounce this right. Komm, scheiß drauf, ich brauch das nicht. Which I guess means something like, come on, screw it, I don't need this.
You got it. And yeah, that phrase really captures his newfound sense of freedom. Like, he's finally realizing he doesn't need validation from others to be happy.
It's pretty empowering when you think about it.
It definitely is. And this newfound confidence seems to be affecting his relationships in a positive way. He mentions a change in his approach to dating, moving away from seeking validation from others and focusing more on what he wants.
So he's basically setting boundaries and prioritizing his own needs.
Exactly. He's recognizing his own worth and choosing to invest his time and energy in relationships that are mutually fulfilling.
That's a huge step in anyone's personal growth journey.
Absolutely. And it seems like Meska is just getting started. He even hints at wanting to write more about setting boundaries in a future post. It's clear that he's using his blog as a platform for self-reflection and growth.
Right.
And in doing so, he's inviting us to do the same.
Right. He's not just telling us what he thinks, he's showing us how he's working through these things himself.
And by doing so, he's prompting us to think about our own lives and how we handle societal expectations, especially during the holidays. It's a good reminder that it's okay to break from the norm and define our own meaning of happiness.
I love that. You know, it's funny how this all started with a blog post about why someone doesn't like Christmas, but it's turned into something much deeper.
It really has. Meska's willingness to challenge those expectations and embrace his own individuality is refreshing and inspiring.
And it's a great reminder that being authentic is a journey, not a destination. So let's keep diving into Meska's journey and see what else we can uncover.
Absolutely. And you know what strikes me is how this seemingly simple blog post about Christmas actually taps into something much bigger. This idea that we don't always have to conform to what society expects of us.
Oh, for sure. Yeah, you're so right. It's like he's giving us permission to ditch the rule book and create our own definitions of happiness.
Exactly. And, this whole Christmas conundrum Meska describes is something a lot of people can relate to. That pressure to conform, to be jolly and festive, can be a real downer, especially if you're already feeling out of sync with the whole holiday cheer thing.
Oh, tell me about it. I think we've all felt that pressure at some point, right? To have the perfect decorations, the perfect gifts, the perfect family gathering. It can be exhausting.
Totally. And I think Masiska's honesty about his own struggles is what makes this blog post so compelling. He's not afraid to admit that Christmas isn't always sunshine and rainbows.
Right. And in doing so, he's creating space for others to feel like they're not alone in those feelings.
Exactly. He's normalizing the idea that it's okay to feel differently, to question traditions, and to create your own path, especially during a holiday that can feel so prescribed.
Yeah. And it's not just about Christmas, right? I feel like this applies to so many areas of life where we feel pressure to conform.
Absolutely. Whether it's about career choices, relationships, or even just how we spend our free time, there's this constant pressure to fit into a certain mold.
Right. And Meska's basically saying, forget the mold. Do what feels right for you.
Exactly. And, that's where this idea of personal growth comes in. Meska's journey isn't just about rejecting Christmas, it's about understanding himself better and figuring out what truly matters to him.
Yeah, it's like he's using this one holiday as a springboard for a much deeper self-exploration.
And that's what makes it so relatable, I think. We're all on our own journeys of self-discovery, figuring things out as we go along.
Totally. And sometimes those journeys take us to unexpected places. Like, who would have thought a blog post about not liking Christmas would lead to such insightful conversations about authenticity and personal growth?
Right, but that's the beauty of it. It's a reminder that we can find inspiration and learning in the most unexpected places.
Yeah, speaking of inspiration, I wanted to circle back to something Meska said earlier about his communication style. Remember that funny anecdote about the slow as a snail woman at the store?
Oh, yeah, that was classic.
It made me think about how he's not just becoming more assertive, but he's also finding ways to do it with humor and grace. He could have been rude or confrontational with that woman, but he chose to address the situation with a bit of wit and kindness.
And that's a skill we could all benefit from, right? Being able to communicate our needs and boundaries in a way that's both assertive and respectful.
Totally. It's about finding that balance between standing up for yourself and being considerate of others.
And sometimes a little humor can go a long way in diffusing tension and keeping things lighthearted.
Absolutely. I mean, who doesn't love a well-placed joke, especially when things are getting a bit heated?
Right. Laughter can be such a powerful tool for connection and understanding. It can help us navigate those tricky social situations with a bit more ease and grace.
So what does all this mean for us? I mean, we've covered a lot of ground here, from holiday expectations to personal growth to communication styles. What's a big takeaway for you?
I think Meska's story reminds us that it's okay to question the status quo, to challenge norms that no longer serve us, and to embrace our own unique paths to happiness.
It's about giving ourselves permission to be authentic, even if it means going against the grain.
And to remember that personal growth is an ongoing process, one that requires self-awareness, courage, and a willingness to embrace change.
That's so well said.
Yeah.
I'm starting to think Meska should be giving life advice, not just blogging about Christmas.
Yeah, right.
But seriously, I think there's so much wisdom in his words. He's not just talking about one holiday. He's talking about a way of approaching life.
Absolutely. It's about being intentional about how we live, about choosing to align ourselves with what truly matters to us. And that's something worth celebrating no matter what time of year it is.
So as we wrap up this part of our deep dive, I'm left with this thought. If we were to strip away all the societal expectations surrounding Christmas, the gifts, the decorations, the pressure to be merry, what would be left? What would the holiday mean to you?
That's a powerful question. It really makes you stop and think about what's truly important.
And maybe that's the real gift of Meska's blog post. It's prompting us to look beyond the surface and reconnect with the deeper meaning of things.
Exactly. It's an invitation to define the holidays and life in general on our own terms.
I love that. And, I have a feeling Meska's journey is far from over. He hinted at wanting to explore the topic of setting boundaries in more depth. I, for one, am eager to see where he takes us next.
Me too. This guy is full of surprises.
So let's take a quick break and then come back to finish up our deep dive into Meska's Christmas conundrum. We'll see if we can uncover any more gems of wisdom from this unexpected holiday philosopher. Okay, we are back and ready to wrap up our deep dive into Meska's Christmas conundrum. It's amazing how much we've unpacked from just one blog post.
It really shows you the power of personal reflection, doesn't it? Sometimes just putting your thoughts out there can spark some pretty profound conversations.
Absolutely. And in this case, it's led us to some really interesting insights about societal expectations, personal growth, and the importance of authenticity.
And let's not forget the power of humor. Meska's writing style is so engaging because he's not afraid to be witty and even a little sarcastic.
Totally. It's like he's inviting us to laugh along with him on this journey of self-discovery. It definitely makes the whole topic more relatable.
Speaking of relatable, I think a lot of people struggle with finding that balance between embracing tradition and creating their own path, especially during the holidays.
Yeah, it's like you're supposed to follow this predetermined script of how to celebrate. But what if that script doesn't resonate with you?
Exactly, and that's where Meska's message comes in. He's basically saying, screw the script, write your own story.
I love that. And, it's not about being a Grinch or rejecting the holiday altogether. It's about being intentional about how you celebrate and finding what truly brings you joy.
It's about reclaiming the holiday and making it your own.
Thinking back to Meska's blog post, there's one line that really stuck with me. He wrote, "We shouldn't need a specific holiday to express gratitude and connect with loved ones."
That's such a powerful statement. It challenges us to think about why we do the things we do, not just during the holidays, but all year round.
Right. Like, why do we wait for Christmas to show kindness and generosity? Why not make those values a part of our everyday lives?
It's a good reminder that the spirit of the holidays, the things that truly matter, shouldn't be confined to a specific date on the calendar.
Exactly. And, I think that's the ultimate takeaway from Meska's Christmas conundrum. It's an invitation to live more authentically, to be true to ourselves, and to find meaning and joy in the everyday moments.
It's a reminder that personal growth is an ongoing process. And sometimes it takes a little holiday rebellion to shake things up and discover who we truly are.
So well said. And, I think Meska would be happy to know that his blog post has sparked such thoughtful conversations and inspired us to look at the holidays and life in general with a fresh perspective.
I think so too. He's clearly a deep thinker who's not afraid to challenge the status quo, and who knows, maybe he's even inspired some people to create their own Christmas revolutions.
Maybe so. So as we wrap up this deep dive, I'm left with a sense of gratitude for Meska's honesty and for the opportunity to explore these important themes with all of you. Thanks for joining us on this journey, and remember, whether you're a holiday enthusiast or a Christmas rebel, the most important thing is to find what brings you joy and to celebrate life on your own terms. Until next time, keep diving deep.